On NewsHour tonight, military chief visits Borno, confident in army's ability to restore peace amid resurgence of terrorist attacks. 8 people killed in fresh plateau attack. Poultry farmers struggle as middlemen dictate egg prices. And on the foreign scene, South African president to meet Trump over rising tensions. Hello and welcome to NewsHour on Trust TV. I am Hawa Adam Kiawa. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, says the Nigerian Army is capable of restoring peace in the country despite experiencing difficulties in its operations. Musa, who stated this during an operational tour in Borno State on Thursday, said new military hardware and air assets have been injected into the Operation k1lled War Theatre to address the rising attacks on its military formations in the northeast. Trust TV's Bitrus Kursi has more. We apologize, the story will be coming shortly when it's ready. Troops of the Nigerian military attached with Northeast Operation k1lled have avenged the killings of their colleagues by overrunning notorious hideouts of the criminals in the Sambisa forests. It was learned the troops who were mandated to reinforce more aggressive officers in response to colleagues' killings targeted the strongholds of the terrorists in Garin Malang Ali, Garin Glucose and Akuba. On Wednesday, no fewer than 4 soldiers were killed by the suspected Boko Haram terrorists who launched coordinated attacks on 3 military bases in Ran, Gajiram and Dikwa in Borno State. Security and local sources confirmed that all the attacks happened in the early hours of Tuesday, stating that the insurgents lost many fighters in Dikwa and Gajiram, where the military repelled their attacks. Sources within the military revealed that the operation, which lasted more than 6 hours, commenced at about 6 a.m. on Wednesday and ended around 12 noon on Thursday, leading to killing of several terrorists. The Chief Military Information Officer at headquarters of Multinational Joint Task Force at the N'Djamena, Chad Olani Osoba, confirmed the operation during a chat. All right, back to the story. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, says the Nigerian Army is capable of restoring peace in the country despite experiencing difficulties in its operations. Musa, who stated this during an operational tour in Borno State on Thursday, said new military hardware and air assets have been injected into the Operation k1lled War Theatre to address the rising attacks on its military formations in the northeast. Trust TV's Bitrus Kursi has more.
The 4th operational visit is no doubt connected to the attacks on military bases in Ran, Marte, Dikwa and Gajiram, where soldiers were killed. The defense chief was at Giwa Barak for a debrief and took a look at the Amori fire outbreak site, which occurred weeks ago.
Thinking about your future, thinking about what you are doing. For anyone who wears uniform and is in the theater, we appreciate him, we commend him for all the efforts.
Thank you, sir.
Right. And then to tell you that we are making every effort to ensure that we get all we need. The president is doing his best.
Back at the Operation k1lled Theatre Command, he had over an hour-long closed-door meeting with senior officers and the theatre command. The defense chief attributed the rising attacks to security challenges in the Sahel region and assured that with new logistics and air assets, the theater will record success in its operations. He stressed that the military lacks the equipment to win the war and it's open to support from friends of Nigeria.
Actions have been taken to ensure that we address the series of attacks that is ongoing. We have seen recently the new theater commander has been brought in, other commanders to have been changed. A lot of equipments are even being brought in to the theater. Now, what we realize is that if you look at the entire Sahel region, the pressure in Mali, Chad, and Niger has put a lot of pressure on Nigeria, and that's why you see these recent attacks have occurred. But we are addressing that in clear terms, making it very serious that we are experienced personnel that have been here and have made that difference. Whatever is going on is just for a short while. Now, for this last 2 weeks, and we have addressed it so drastically that it's going to stop, and henceforth there will be positive results from the theater.
With the conclusion of his engagement with the theater command, Nigerians await the result of the visit in its counter-insurgency operations across the military bases in the northeast. Bitrus Kuruti, Trust TV News, Maiduguri.
Moving on, no fewer than 8 persons, including women, were reportedly killed on Wednesday night during an attack in Werang camp community of Riyom local government area of Plateau State. The latest attacks came hours after more than 100 cattle and a herder were allegedly killed in Gero and Darawat communities of Jos South and Riyom local government areas of the state. Residents also said 1 person was injured while more than 20 houses were burned down during the incident, adding that the injured one is currently receiving treatment at the hospital. The president of Birom Youth Molders Association, Dalyop Solomon, confirmed the incident on Thursday, accusing the Fulani ethnic group of launching the attacks. However, the leadership of Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria has debunked the accusations, describing them as unfounded. Our reporter in the state, Adu Musa, is joining me via phone call to give an update. Hello, Adu. Thank you for joining us.
Okay. Hello. Good evening.
Yes, good evening. The question is there any update on the attacks concerning the victims and houses burnt?
Well, at the moment, the security personnel from Operation Safe Haven have been deployed to the affected community, and residents from the area have also confirmed to me that personnel of the operation are currently stationed at the village to ensure there is no further breakdown of law and order. And they also confirmed to me that some of the residents who had earlier fled to bush for safety are gradually returning to the community. So at the moment, normalcy has been restored in the community.
All right. Is there any update on the victim that has been hospitalized today?
Okay, well, at the moment, we have not had much on the condition of the victim, but we hope that probably tomorrow we'll hear more about the condition of the victim. But at the moment, we have not had any update on his condition.
All right. We would also like to know the condition of those that have lost their homes. Where are they at? Are they displaced? Is there any provision for them for shelter?
Well, at the moment, the authority have not said anything with regard to this. But sources from the community confirmed to us that a lot of people had earlier fled the community, but at the moment, some of them are returning to the community. But we have not heard whether if maybe a provision has been provided for the IDPs or not. But I think maybe tomorrow we'll hear also more about the condition of those who have lost either their loved ones or their houses during the attack.
All right, with the security agency coming forward with some information, have they given any information on any identification of those that have done those attacks?
Okay, well, at the moment, the security agencies have not given any categorical statement with regard to who launched the attack or how the attack also was launched. But the commander of Operation Safe Haven had just held a meeting with all stakeholders from the affected local government areas. That is stakeholders from Riyom and Jos South local government areas. And traditional rulers, farmers and herders were all in attendance during the meeting. And during the meeting, the commander of the operation, Folisho Onilola, He said that the meeting was held in order to strategize on how to quell the renewed crisis in the two local government areas, especially in the last 1 week. And during the meeting, he also expressed concern over the recent farm disruptions and cattle rustling, which according to him that these activities are some of the triggers that usually contribute to the crisis we are witnessing today in these local government areas. He further also emphasized on the importance of community-based conflict resolutions, where traditional rulers and religious leaders are expected to be at the forefront of dialogue so as to resolve the problem between the two warring parties. So at the moment, this is what we have from the security agencies, but they have not categorically said anything. But we understood that this meeting was at the instance of what has happened between yesterday and today in the two affected local government areas.
All right. Thank you very much, Adjo, for the update. Have a good night and stay safe.
Thank you very much.
All right. Moving on, the Bauchi State Governor Bala Abdul Qadir Muhammad has issued a stern directive to security agencies and community leaders to identify and expose informants aiding bandit groups, describing them as more dangerous than the bandits themselves. Governor Muhammad made the declaration during a condolence visit to Duguri district in Al-Kaleri local government area, where he met with families of local vigilantes recently killed in a deadly ambush. Trust TV's Adamu Imam has more.
Reports indicate that 23 people, including members of vigilante groups and residents of Mansour and neighboring communities, were killed following a brutal clash with armed bandits who launched a surprise attack. The governor, visibly shaken, met with grieving families to offer condolences and reaffirm the state government's commitment to tackling insecurity in the region.
On our own part, as a state government, I promise you that the vigilante organization will employ about 2,100 before the end of the year. We are starting immediately with 300 to 500 employment with minimum wage implied, so that we'll be able to give you work to do. And we are starting with the communities that are worst hit. And you are going to be trained by the security agencies. You are going to interact, and the rules of engagement will be acceptable so that there is no extrajudicial killings. But I reprimand the communities to beware of informers.
Also present at the visit were top security officials and traditional leaders who pledged their support in the ongoing efforts to combat armed banditry. We can't be everywhere as a security agent at the same time, so we must work together to curtail this problem of banditry. The federal government has a plan to address the shortage of manpower in various security agencies. However, the most important thing is synergy with community members. There is no way we will fold our arms and watch these killings happen every other day. We will make sure our contributions positively impact the fight against insecurity. Your Excellency, we are warriors in our own ways. Those that lost their lives are heroes because they sacrifice for others to live. Governor Muhammad also conveyed the federal government's commitment to increasing support for security operations in Al-Kaleri and surrounding areas, promising more resources and interventions in the days ahead. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
At least 300 houses were destroyed and properties worth millions of naira lost following a heavy windstorm and downpour in some communities in Katsina State. The incident, which lasted for about 15 minutes on Wednesday evening after Asr prayers, saw roofs and rafters flying through the sky Areas affected are Sabuwar Unguwar Modoji Gabas, Shinkafi and Kukarikesa area, as well as Ambassador Quarters and some parts of Jibia local government area. Many residents, including a newlywed couple, were rendered homeless following the havoc. Some of the victims described the incident as a test from God. They, however, asked the Katsina State government and others to assist them amidst the prevailing economic hardship. In another story, the Oyo State government has demolished some illegal structures and shanties around Jemi Bewon Sabi for encroaching into St. Gabriel's School in Ibadan. The exercise was conducted by the Oyo State Rule of Law Enforcement Authority. The report.
After several notices issued by the Oyo State government, authorities have now moved to evict occupants of a shanty located behind St. Gabriel's School in the Sabo area of Ibadan by demolishing illegal structures in the vicinity. This enforcement action is in line with an executive order issued by Governor Seyi Makinde in October 2023, mandating demolition of shanties and illegal structures situated around school premises.
Well, it's no news that the executive governor of Oyo State, President Engineer Makinde, has given an executive order to ensure that all shanties and illegal structures around public schools across the state should be removed. And that's exactly the stance of the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology. So we are here with some other agencies that are involved in this. So we are very aware of this. And this is like a warning to every other person or persons within the state that are having this kind of structures to ensure that they remove it, because one day it will get to them.
Despite efforts by some of the residents to salvage their belongings, only a few items could be retrieved as the demolition proceeded swiftly. Affected residents said they felt devastated by the loss of their homes and livelihoods, which they claim have been taken away by the government's action.
I feel bad because we have been in this place for more than 15 years. This is where we are working. This is where we are doing everything. And even the past government, that is APC government, during the 2019 election, they told us that if we did not vote for them, they will chase us come out from here. And everybody knows that we are PDP members. We choose to vote for PDP because they did not promise us anything. But APC government passed them, they promised us that whenever they win election, they will chase us come out from here. But unfortunately, we vote for PDP. And last, it's PDP that chase us come out from here.
Chairperson of the Oyo State Rule of Law Enforcement Authority emphasized that the action was prompted by a petition which raised concerns about the shanties encroaching into St. Gabriel's School in the area where sinister actions were being carried out.
2023, His Excellency Engineer Seyi Makinde passed the law or directed that all shanties around all schools in Oyo State be removed. And why did he do this? Because they discovered that the students were being raped inside the various schools, and other atrocities were being committed. In the shanties, they also have illicit drugs there, and it's affecting the children.
The action taken by the Oyo State government underscores its commitment to eliminating unsafe and unhealthy environments that pose serious security threats to both academic institutions and the state at large.
State on Thursday staged a peaceful protest in Oshogbo, the state capital, against the Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company for allegedly manipulating the metering process. The protesters accused IBDC of exploiting them and subjecting them to inhumane treatment. Hamid Oyegbade files in this report.
The protesters stormed major streets in Oshogbo in a peaceful protest against the Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company, IBEDC. They lamented that the company is exploiting them by manipulating the process of getting electricity meter. They also accused IBEDC officials of imposing heavy bill on them while processing new electricity meter.
The protest we are making is against the IBEDC. With the way they are extorting the consumers and the way they are putting themselves as a contractor. The work they're supposed to do, they leave it aside. They are just running after the money, not considering the conveniences of the consumer they are ought to cater for. Which kind of country are we? They are full of fraud. And I'm going to challenge them on this. I don't want to spend any amount on this on litigation against them. Even when I'm going to call security to investigate them on this matter, if they fail to reverse this bill, I'm going to challenge them. That's the reason why I'm here, sir.
You see, I have my own building too, which they bring such thing. Imagine you don't use such thing, you will be bringing so a very exorbitant bill. How do you want the people to pay for such? Now we want them to be generating account for us. Immediately the form is being submitted by a LECA member, Licensed Electrical Contractor Association of Nigeria.
The spokesperson of IBEDC, k1lled, appealed to residents with valid claims to come forward for amicable resolution.
On metering, IBEDC continues to meter customers with verified proof of payment. We encourage customers with genuine documentation to come forward and come forward with their proof of payment. Unfortunately, there have been attempts to fraudulently use a single receipt for multiple meters, which have been thoroughly investigated. So we want our customers who have issues on their long-awaited metering to, as mentioned by the licensed electrical contractor, to come forward with their evidence of payment for us to actually work on it, because people have been getting their meters. Those who have come up with their genuine evidence of payment have been getting their meters as well. And contrary to some claims, customers are not billed before connection. However, instances where electricity is used during building construction may result in billing after the customer consents to connection through the submitted form.
The residents called on the state government and federal government to intervene in the matter. Amid Ojigbade, reporting for Trust TV.
Moving on, Nigeria's headline inflation dropped to 23.71% in April relative to the March 2025 headline inflation rate of 24.23%. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, the April 2025 headline inflation rate showed a decrease of 0.52% compared to the March 2025 headline inflation rate. It stated that on a year-on-year basis, the headline inflation rate was 9.99%, lower than the rate recorded in April 2024, which is 33.69%. This means that in April 2025, the rate of increase in the average price level is lower than the rate of increase in the average price level in March 2025. It added that food inflation rate in April 2025 was 21.26% on a year-on-year basis, adding that the significant decline in the food annual inflation figure is technically due to the change in the base year. But on a month-on-month basis, the food inflation rate in April 2025 was 2.06%, down by 0.12% compared to March 2025, which is 2.18%. Joining me via Zoom to give an insight on the NBC inflation figures is Aninu Harbau. Hello and good evening. Thank you for joining.
Thank you. Good evening.
Yes, thank you for being here. Now, with the recent report by the National Bureau of Statistics of a drop in inflation, especially food, how does it reflect the prices of commodity in the market, and what impact would it have on the economy as well?
Hello, good evening, everyone. We know one of the macroeconomic policies in economics indices inflation on the side of other macroeconomic goals of unemployment, price stabilization, and balance of payment. So the recent fall in the prices of goods and services, especially at our local governments, is visible. It can be seen anywhere you go in Nigeria, even the local market. Visit any local market nearby. You find out, hello, you find out the prices are really dropping, and it commensurates the quote of the NBC and the central bank alike. And even here in Kano, when you visit a local market and even the commodity market here in Dawanau, you find out the prices are really going down compared to last year's prices. Let's take an example of like maize. It was sold 80,000 plus in 2024, but now you can buy a bag of maize at the cost of 50,000 or there about. So you can see this drop can be reflected in our markets and even our local market in Nigeria.
All right. So what can be done to make sure that the inflation keeps dropping instead of rising as we've seen in 2023 and 2024? How can that be?
You see, our problem in Nigeria, especially the causes of inflation, is not like the ones we know in literature. Like we say, when there is too much money in circulation, there will be an inflation. But in Nigeria, the reverse is the case. As people are suffering, they cannot have 3 square meal, and people are losing their jobs. There are so many unemployed youth in the country. You find out prices keep on going. So our problem was from like removal of the fuel subsidy and the cost of our foreign exchange, as our naira is continue to like lose value in the both the official and the black market. That what to cause the prices to like go off. And we can understand the recent policies taken by the present administration is like try to like make this extra rate, at least the prices are also stabilizing. And as the dollar is appreciating, our economy is a dependent economy. We import almost everything to Nigeria, and we use dollar to buy to import these goods. So as the dollar is dropping, our naira is appreciating. The cost of prices of goods and services will also go down. The same vein, the removal of the oil subsidy leads, the high prices of transportation, and what reflects, the high cost of production, and so also the last price or the market price of our commodity. So if the Nigerian government will continue to make sure local production is enhanced, and our refineries are working 247 to make sure local production or local oil consumption is met. So that will help or will go along line of like reducing prices of goods and services in Nigeria.
All right. All right. So if it continuously drops with consistency, what impact will it have on other aspects aside from food, which includes transportation, housing, education, water, electricity, fuel, and the likes? How will it impact it if it continuously drops?
Yes, let's take transportation. If like the prices of oil and other, prices continue to drop, that will, translate like reducing the drop in the price of costs of our transportation. So, and if we take it the other way, on housing, on like other sectors, electricity, oil and gas, if their prices continue to drop, that reflects and that will show welfare of the citizen will eventually like increase, because the more or the less people buy or the less people spend on their daily consumption, the more they have as an extra to like increase their welfare. So what I'm trying to say in essence is, if like prices continue to drop, maybe to the end of this year, that will translate to like increase in the welfare of Nigerians.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us and giving us an insight on this topic. Have a good evening.
Thank you so much.
All right. Right, this is News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up after the break. Poultry farmers struggle as middlemen dictate egg prices. More news when we return. Do stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is News Hour on Trust TV. Let's take a look at our top stories again. Military chief visits Borno, confident in army's ability to restore peace amid resurgence of terrorist attacks. 8 people killed in fresh Plateau attack. Moving on to more stories, a bill seeking to stop all government agencies from buying foreign-made cars has passed second reading on the floor of the Senate. The bill, which was presented by Senator Patrick Nwabueze on Thursday, was referred to the Senate Committee on Public Procurement to report back in 4 weeks. The report.
In his lead debate, Senator Nwabueze said when passed, the bill will bar all ministries, departments and agencies from patronizing foreign-made vehicles and mandate them to buy only locally manufactured ones.
Unfortunately, over the years, we have failed to institutionalize the use of indigenous products, brands, and services in Nigeria, and have instead glorified foreign goods of no particular superior quality.
After the debate, Deputy President of the Senate, Jibrin Barau, who presided over the session, noted that if passed, the bill will, among other things, stabilize the economy and preserve the country's foreign exchange.
A bill for the art to make it mandatory for ministries, departments, and agencies, including the Senate, to give priority to local manufacturers and indigenous automobile companies in procurement process and for related matters 2025. Second reading taken.
Also on Thursday, the Nigerian Senate reached some resolutions after a brief debate on the motion presented on the floor by Kogi West Senator Sunday Karimi. In his lead debate, Senator Karimi expressed shock at the audacity of criminal elements who had kidnapped Kogi monarch Oba James Ogunyade, the Obalo of Ololoke, from his palace in the Yegba local government area of Kogi State. The Kogi West lawmaker, however, explained that the kidnappers were yet to reach out to the family of the monarch to demand ransom. The Senate therefore called on federal government and relevant security agencies to secure the release of the monarch who was abducted in his palace by criminal elements in the early hours of Thursday. The upper legislative chamber equally urged local and state governments to rise up to their responsibilities by ensuring the safety of lives and property under their jurisdictions.
The House also noted that the shocking event took place when suspected kidnappers stormed the palace of the referred second-class chief around 12 a.m., shooting sporadically into the air before whisking the traditional ruler away to an unknown location. A situation which has caused unprecedented tension in the communities as fears mount over his safety.
Meanwhile, the senator stressed the need to encourage vigilante groups by increasing their remuneration to enable them carry out their duties effectively.
Security agencies in the country, to, as a matter of urgency, deploy their security arsenals to secure the immediate release of the monarch from his abductors. Those in favor of this prayer, please say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it.
The lawmakers agreed that better welfare for vigilantes will boost the fight against insecurity.
The House of Representatives has passed for second reading a bill that could make voting compulsory for all eligible Nigerians in national and state elections. This is one of the bills passed during Thursday's plenary on the floor of the House. This and more, let's take a look.
Sponsored by Speaker Abbas Tajuddin and Daniel Asama, the bill aims to tackle low voter turnout, seen as a chronic threat to Nigeria's democratic vitality. But the proposal has sparked a national conversation in the chamber.
The rationale, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, permit me to highlight the reasons this amendment is both necessary and timely. Low voters turnout. Nigeria has consistently recorded alarming low voters turnout rates in elections. For instance, in the 2023 general election, less than 30% of the registered voters participated.
Some lawmakers questioned the practicality of enforcement, citing voter register issues and electoral credibility. Yet, others defended it as a crucial step toward inclusive governance.
Be the mode of enforcement. It is not just good enough that we have it in our books that voting is compulsory. How will it be enforced? My big brother, the Deputy Speaker, has referenced Australia, that certain incentives could be there. What are the incentives in our claims? What are those things that citizens even enjoy? Is it that you'll be denied security? There is no water anywhere, as to say you'll be denied your basic utilities.
We are trying to put something on nothing. It is not the problem mandating citizens to vote. There is no problem making it compulsory for citizens to vote. But a situation where citizens have lost confidence in their vote, it becomes a problem.
In other climate, they have simplified the way of voting, and everybody participated by simplifying it. You can vote from your home. But I will add to tell our Electoral Commission to also simplify the way we vote so that people will be motivated to participate in that voting.
One of those responsibilities, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, is to be involved in our democratic processes. The bill that is before us is not saying it is mandatory for a Nigerian to vote either A or B. No. It's saying that you must be counted. So this bill is coming at the right time, a time where Nigerians are looking to this 10th house to let the playing field be level for inclusion, for everybody in every corner of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to come out and exercise their voting rights.
Meanwhile, lawmakers are turning attention to education reforms. In a bid to improve access to exams, the House has urged JAMB to establish at least one CBT center in every local government area.
Urgent improvement in the technical and logistical preparation for JAMB will avert unnecessary risk, agony, and improve overall performance in subsequent JAMB UTME examination in Nigeria.
The call followed harrowing accounts of students traveling long distances for the exams, with some lives tragically lost in the process. The House, however, mandated funding for CBT centers in the 2026 budget. At committee level, concerns were also raised over the performance of the 2025 UTME, with JAMB admitting technical glitches. Lawmakers are demanding solutions and accountability. In another development, a bill to establish a Federal College of Entrepreneurship and Skills Acquisition in Borno State has met resistance. The Federal Ministry of Education opposes the plan, citing funding limitations and policies on equitable distribution.
The Federal Ministry of Education has streamlined and expanded avenues for the establishment of private tertiary institutions. States and individuals are encouraged to leverage on this opportunity to contribute to national educational development.
But lawmakers weren't convinced, citing rising youth unemployment. They argued that the nation must invest more in skills and innovation.
The first bill seeks to establish a federal college that will promote entrepreneurship studies and empower Nigerians and Borno people with the modern skills to become employable, create jobs, and excel in future. While the second bill is concerned with amending the Federal Polytechnic Act in order to improve the operations efficiency and effectiveness of polytechnics across Nigeria.
The establishment of this Federal College of Entrepreneurship represents a significant step towards economic development and job creation in the region. This institution will provide comprehensive training programs aimed at equipping individuals with diverse skills necessary for self-employment and economic independence.
Discriminatory dichotomy between HND and university degree has for decades unfairly limited the prospect of polytechnic graduates. Despite their rigorous training and technical acumen, it has contributed to the underemployment and professional marginalization of a significant sector of our workforce.
Strong calls were also made to end the discrimination against HND holders and promote equal opportunity for all graduates.
In another story, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 general elections, Peter Obi, has commended the Registrar of the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, Ishak Oloyede, for admitting to glitches in the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination (UTME), but said such errors should be avoided in the future. Oloyede had, in a rare admission while fighting back tears, said some errors affected candidates' performance in the examination, which was conducted across the country earlier in the year. Obi, while lauding Oloyede for admitting to the mistakes, said efforts should be made to prevent a similar recurrence. The former Anambra State governor said JAMB's willingness to own up to its shortcomings is worthy of recognition, but noted sadly that the incident has brought to light a far more troubling reality, which is the persistent fragility of institutional systems. He called on JAMB and other similar agencies to adopt comprehensive quality assurance frameworks. The LP chieftain listed these to include rigorous testing and constant auditing of technical infrastructure, asking for transparent communication with candidates and stakeholders, among others, as essential to restoring public confidence. The management of Kaduna State University has disclosed that the school's branch of the Academic Staff Union of Universities has suspended its strike action, saying the institution has been opened immediately. The Vice-Chancellor of KASU, Abdullahi Musa, who disclosed this on Thursday, said Governor Obasani has approved a 50 million naira monthly standing order for staff welfare support and has set up a negotiating team to discuss how to clear contentious issues. He further disclosed that the governor has released 146 million naira for the payment of some withheld salaries and students' industrial work experience scheme allowances. The Vice-Chancellor also disclosed that the governor also approved the retention of a certain percentage of internally generated revenue by the university after determining the actual amount collected to enhance financial autonomy. Musa also said that the government has constituted a high-level negotiation team to continue holding dialogue with all unions in the university to address outstanding issues. The Court of Appeal Abuja has reserved judgment in 3 appeals and a cross-appeal challenging the outcome of the September 21st governorship election held in Edo State, in which the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) declared Monday Okpebholo of the All Progressives Congress (APC) as winner. A 3-man panel of the court, presided over by Justice Muhammad Nanjuma, reserved the date to be communicated to the parties after their final arguments. The appeals heard include the one filed by the People's Democratic Party (PDP) and its candidate in the election, Aswe Ugodalo, and a cross-appeal by the APC and Okpebholo. 2 other appeals were also heard, one filed by Action Alliance AA and its national chairman Rufai Omoaje, and another filed by One Bright Enabulele and Accord Party AP. Meanwhile, as egg prices continue to fall for farmers due to a seasonal glut, concerns are mounting that Nigerian middlemen are capturing a significant portion of the profits at the expense of both farmers and consumers. Our correspondent spoke with key stakeholders who shared the concerns of farmers, many of whom are now considering reducing investment in egg production or abandoning the business altogether, a trend that could pose a threat to egg availability in the long run. The report.
Eggs are a vital economic indicator as they reflect several factors in the food supply chain, including inflation, production costs, supply chain efficiency, and consumer demand. In Nigeria, a seasonal glut has driven down the price of eggs, but reports suggest that middlemen are reaping more benefits than either the producers or consumers. Gideon Oyeku, an egg farmer, describes egg production as a potentially lucrative business, but not without challenges. These include high operational costs and exploitative practices of middlemen.
We have this kind of experience too. Sometimes there was a point that we had to crash the price of the eggs because of the fact that the people are no longer, seeing it as something that they want to continue putting their money into because they feel like they are not getting the required profit from it again. And this is because of the fact that we have middlemen that are not faithful enough, to let these people know that this is a price. Even if they are going to add anything, it should be reasonable enough. So I can say yes, we are also experiencing this issue of middlemen of a thing having to increase the price higher than that of the price that they are getting in from the farm.
An economic expert, Dr. Riyom LGA, explains that price manipulation within the value chain leads to unfair trade practices, which reduce farmers' profit margins and inflate consumer prices.
It's going to increase unemployment in the market, reduce the income levels of families, and perpetuate poverty in the system, thereby reducing the growth level of such an economy because the productive capacity will be reduced and the capacity utilization in terms of industrial processes will also be reduced.
He warns that a decline or shutdown in local egg production could lead to increased importation, which would put further pressure on Nigeria's foreign exchange reserves, driving up the exchange rate and weakening the national currency.
Private sector is also encouraged to come into play. However, the government must take the leading role by ensuring that enabling environment laws are created that support such investment. Two, that regulatory frameworks are also put in place to ensure that investors are not shortchanged. Therefore, they are encouraged to invest in such sectors and ensure that the right thing is done for the farmers.
Some egg retailers say their prices reflect operational costs. They emphasize the need to avoid losses while still retaining their customer base.
We are buying 5,000. We sell 5,300. Because most of the time we use our vehicle to go there and buy it and fuel the vehicle and come back. If I get a lower price, it will make me reduce more price to sell.
How much profit are we gaining? If they bring it, we use wheelbarrow, we buy leaders, we pay things before even bringing it to the shop. So now, what are we making from even the sales? We don't even make up to 500 from a crate. The truth is, we can't sell lesser than what we got from. We can't get lesser.
Meanwhile, some consumers confirm that egg prices remain high despite the glut. They link the trend to the overall high cost of living in Nigeria and urge stakeholders to ensure fair pricing that benefits end users.
In fact, there is no fixed price for the egg. They have two sizes of egg, the big size and the small size. The small size, as a consumer, I buy one from the retailers at the price of 200 naira. They sell the big one at 250. Some people even sell it for 300.
I buy in crates and sometimes counts. Actually, if you look at the pricing, when you buy in crates is a bit fair. But when you buy one, they are selling one egg for 300 naira, which is really on the high side.
Experts believe the government has a key role to play by supporting farmers and implementing price regulation measures to protect all players in the value chain.
The Nigeria Union of Journalists is celebrating 70 years of existence in the country and is looking to mark the milestone elaborately. NUJ Deputy National President Bimbo Abimbola led members of the planning committee for the event paid a courtesy visit to the headquarters of the Media Trust Group on Thursday, where she emphasized that despite the struggles and challenges facing journalism today, worldwide, the profession was still being celebrated around the world.
NUJ has evolved in the last 70 years, series of administration upon administration, president, and we have evolved. And at each coming of the president, they will do their best. They've done their best to highlight the journalists, the challenges facing journalists in the country. They've tried their best in having the welfare of journalists at heart. They've tried their best in upholding the press freedom and ethical journalism. And successive governments have also tried in the last 70 years to present the media enhanced salary scale, to bring face, human face, to what journalists and media workers take home every day.
In ensuring that those in position of authority deliver, because that is the core responsibility of journalism, whether private or public. But the biggest takeaway is that NUJ is a big umbrella encompassing almost everyone. It's not exclusive elitist club per se. You give cover and support to everyone who is a journalist. And this, unlike other organizations, of course, that they tend to be exclusive in nature. But then this gives greater advantage to the NUJ, because you are almost everywhere. There is no media house, be it newspaper, radio, or television, that you don't have members.
Moving on to business, oil prices sank on Thursday as hopes rise for an Iran nuclear breakthrough after Donald Trump said a deal was getting close, and United States media reported Tehran had indicated it could be open to curbs on its atomic program. The remarks from the United States president came after the two sides on Sunday held their fourth round of talks that began last month and represented the highest level contact since Trump in 2018 pulled out of a three-year-old deal. Speaking in Qatar as part of his multi-day tour of the Gulf, Trump voiced optimism at avoiding a military strike on Tehran's nuclear sites. Both main crude contracts sank more than 3%. The commodity had already been falling on Thursday on signs Iran could agree to certain demands. On the foreign scene, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa will meet United States counterpart Donald Trump in Washington next week at a time of strained ties between the two countries. Pretoria said in a statement released late on Wednesday, the visit provides a platform to reset the strategic relationship between the two countries. It said the United States administration had torn it into various South African policies, including its case against Israel at the International Court of Justice and a land expropriation law meant to redress historical inequalities that Washington alleges will allow the government to seize white-owned land. Washington cut aid to South Africa and in March expelled Pretoria's ambassador Ibrahim Rasool after he criticized Trump's Make America Great Again movement in an online seminar. Trade discussions should also be expected from Ramaphosa's working visit to the United States, which will last from Monday to Thursday. The United States is South Africa's second biggest trade partner, but Trump's announcement of sweeping tariffs in April, now paused for 90 days, has ignited fears for key sectors, including the automobile industry and citrus production. It's now time for Sports Update with Joseph Peter.
Special Advisor to the President on Media and Public Communication and former Minister of Youth and Sport Development Sunday Dare will attend the opening ceremony of the 22nd National Sport Festival scheduled to take place in Ogun State from 16th to 30th May. The National Sport Festival themed Gateway Games 2024 will welcome over 15,000 athletes, coaches, and officials from the 36 states of the Federation. The FCT and a group of young athletes known as the Invited Junior Athletes will compete in about 32 sports. It will be a celebration of sporting excellence and also an avenue for talent discovery and national unity. The opening ceremony will be held at Moshood Abiola International Stadium, Abeokuta, in the presence of the Executive Governor of Ogun State, His Excellency Prince Dapo Abiodun, the Minister of Youth Development Ayodele Olawambe, as well as other federal and state level officials and representatives of the Nigerian Olympic Committee. Also on ground will be the festival's chief custodian, Malam Shehu Dikko, chairman of the National Sports Commission, and Honorable Bukola Olakpade, Director General of the National Sports Commission, both of whom will play key roles in ensuring the smooth coordination of the game. Now in football, the Nigerian Flying Eagles have been eliminated from the Under-20 AFCON in a tense game that saw the Flying Eagles create many chances in the first and the second half but could not put the ball past the Amajitas goalie Fletcher Lowy. Deep in the second half, the Nigerian second goalkeeper, who came in for the injured first starter Ebenezer Harcourt, miscalculated a pull-out which allowed a well-taken header by Taylor Smith in the 66th minute to give the South Africans the lead in a tie that proved to be fiercely contested between the two of Africa's traditional football powerhouse. The result also earned Nigeria's hope of winning a record-extending 8 Under-20 AFCON title. That's Sport News. I am Joseph Peter, Trust TV.
All right, with that, we've come to the end of the News Hour on Trust TV. Make sure you follow all our media platforms and join our YouTube live stream for more news. I am Hawa Adamikiawa. Thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of your evening.